This is my Black MISCS Saiyan Xeno burn deck. 1 copy of the leader. 4 SS4 Gogeta Prismatic Burst. 4 SS4 Gogeta Thwarting the Dark Empire. 4 MicroRecords Absorb. 4 Black MISCS Saiyan Splintering Mind. 4 Oceanus Shenron. 4 Gotenks. 4 Time Agent Vegeta. 4 Time Agent Trunks. 4 Deadly Defender Goku. 4 Goku making an entrance. 4 Further Destruction Champa. 4 Easter Pain Kai. 4 Power Burst. 4 Instant Transmission 10 times Kamehameha. And 4 SS Gotenks Fusion of Friendship Unison. So obviously the leader, the burst, right? Burst 3. And then when this card attacks, draw a card. So you have to attack in order to trigger the burst 3. It'd be nice if it was like Bardock, where you just active main burst, but this is a burst 3 on swing, which of course can help you trigger your Time Agent Vegeta, Time Agent Trunks, and your SS Gotenks Unison, as well as fill up your drop area for other card effects. Then Awaken, when you have 4 or less life, you may choose up to 2 of your energy switches to active mode, which can come in handy, obviously, in a combo later on. The Awaken side, active main. So now we actually have an active main burst. Once per turn, burst 3 cards, which is sending 3 cards from the top of your deck to drop. Choose up to 1 black battle card with energy cost 3 or higher in your drop area and add it to your hand. Then this card gains 5k power for the duration of the turn. So there's a 20k body on your Awaken side. As you can see, there is no, except for the front side, you burst 3 and draw a card. The Awaken side, you don't draw a card, but you get a card from your drop to your hand, which is the whole point of using this leader, because we want stuff from our drop and add it to our hand so we can use it over and over and over again. So the use for this obviously has lots of use, but one of the main uses for it is to grab back our counterattack battle cards. Okay, this is a 5 drop, this one's a 3 drop, and this says, the leader says 3 or higher black battle card. So we have some stuff we can grab. We can grab Deadly Defender Goku, obviously. We can grab all these big boys up here. All 4 of these up here are win cons. Goku make an entrance. Obviously we get that back with Power Burst, but everything else in the deck we can grab with the leader's effect, which is awesome because that gives us options, especially for our main win cons. This SS4 Goku, as well as Black MISCS Saiyan Splintering Mind, that's our burn win cons, and this Gogeta and MicroRecords Absorb are attack based win cons. So we have SS4 Gogeta Prismatic Burst. It's 35k with Quadruple Strike. Has an auto, when this card is played, resolve the following effects based on the card colors in your energy area. The first effect is red energy. You deal your opponent 1 damage, so that's where the burn comes from. If you have blue, you get an effect. If you have green, you get an effect. If you have yellow, you get an effect. And if you have black, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and send them to their owner's warp. So we are going to get the red and black effect. So we're going to be able to, by charging one of our Further Destruction Chopper or Easter Pain Kais, we will be able to burn our opponent for 1 damage. And of course, what's cool about that is we get this card out, right? We burn our opponent, then we can try to go for the Quadruple Strike for game. If not, that's okay, because anytime we get this back to the drop, or if we have another copy of this in the drop, we can always add it back to our hand with the leader's effect, and then play it again and burn our opponent again, right? So that reusability is very useful, obviously. It's a very reusable burn, which I'm a big fan of, obviously. So like I said, we get the red effect to burn, and we get the black effect to choose up two of our opponent's battle cards and warp them. Obviously, you'll want to get rid of blockers with that effect, so that way you can try to get your quadruple strike to go through. Has an active main, pay 5 energy. Choose one Goku Xeno card and one Vegeta Xeno card in your hand and or battle area, and place them into the owner's drop area and play this card from your hand. So what's nice, of course, because of the leader's active awaken ability, we can always add a Deadly Defender Goku or a Time Agent Vegeta from our drop to our hand, so that way we can have both Vegeta and Goku in our hands in order to be able to use for Gogeta. Obviously, through bursting effect, the Time Agent Vegeta will play itself for free, so it will already be on board. So, of course, Goku making an entrance also is a Goku Xeno, so you can also use this along with Time Agent Vegeta in order to play Gogeta Prismatic Burst. So that's something to keep in mind. So you could potentially burst and get Time Agent Vegeta in play, use Goku making an entrance to negate an attack, and then end up with both of them on the battle area, and be able to use them in order to play out your Gogeta Prismatic Burst. And of course, you'll want some red energy so that we can get that burn effect, which is very important. Then we got the SS4 Gogeta thwarting the Dark Empire. Has triple attacks, so it attacks 3 times, and it's a blocker. So always good to have a sword that's also a shield, right? Permanent. While this card is in rest mode, it can't be killed by your opponent's skills. So that's obviously a good. It has some protection, especially against any cards that would try to destroy this card during battle. Then we got the auto once per turn. When this card attacks, your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand and 2 of their battle cards, ignoring barrier, and send them to their owner's warps. At the end of the turn, switch this card to active mode, which is obviously awesome because he is a blocker. So you'll definitely take advantage of attacking with this card 3 times. Of course, the first time you'll get that auto, then the next 2 attacks you won't get the auto, obviously. It'd be too busted if you could do the auto 3 times. But you can take advantage of using it the first time to, obviously weaken your opponent's hand, as well as weaken their board by reducing their blockers, or just get rid of some battle cards. And then he has the active main of paying 4. You choose a Goku Xeno card and a Vegeta Xeno card in your battle area and or drop area, and send them to the owner's warp, and then play this card from your hand. This is a really good one because obviously you can burst, use the leader's effect to add this back from your drop to your hand, and then if you have Time Agent Vegeta, Deadly Defender Goku, or Goku making an entrance in the drop, you can use them to help you get Gogeta thwarting the Dark Empire out onto the battle area. So there's synergy there, obviously. And of course, we can always get them back into the drop through the effect of instant transmission 10 times Kamehameha, so keep that in mind. So there's synergy there. So moving on, Mirror creates or absorb, one of our biggest push. It's Overwhelm 4 for 1 energy. Deflect, nice to have, right? Helps you avoid God-Sealing Trunks, for example, and other counterplays like that. The second auto is what we use, which is when this card attacks, this card gains 5k power for each card in your war for the duration of the turn. So you overwhelm, it gets really strong, especially with all the bursting you'll be doing in this deck. Swing with it, its attack can get up to like 70k plus easily, and throw in a Champa or Isapin Kai and get that double strike damage to go through, because it's usually easy to get your opponent down to 2 life. So this is a good way of finish your opponent off when they're all tapped out, and all they could potentially do is try to out combo, but you'll be too strong to out combo in most cases. So there's that as an option. What else? Oh yeah, obviously we can use the leader's awaken effect, because you can burst 3, right? Attack with the leader, burst 3, draw a card, right? So you can have, you know, obviously 3 cards in the drop. You could, let's say you have 4 energy, so you tap off 4 energy to play this Gogeta Thwarting the Dark Empire, or if you have 5 energy, you could play this, you know, Gogeta, the one with the quadruple strike. The point is, you could play either one and tap out, right? Then, you know, do the leader's burst effect, you know, with attacking with the leader, right? And then awaken, so you can untap 2 energy, right? Be on your awaken side, and then of course you can burst, you know, burst 3 and grab a battle card from your drop to your hand. And let's say create a MicroRecords observes in the drop, you can add it back to your hand, obviously. And you should definitely have more than 4 cards in your drop for overall 4. And now you have 2 energies. Obviously, you could play 1 energy, play MicroRecords Absorb, swing with it, and then the second energy, use it for Isekai or Champa, and, you know, mirror Champa your opponent for game, as an example. And, you know, you'll have either this Gogeta or this Gogeta out there, you know, supporting the display to help you increase your chances of winning, right? Which is the whole goal. We got Black Mask saying Splintering Mind. Auto, when you play this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to his owner's warp. So it's a good way of getting rid of a blocker, especially with the fact that this has an auto, sparking 7 when you have 7 or more cards in your drop. When this card attacks, if your leader card is black, which it is, you may choose 2 cards in your life, send them to the warp. If you do, choose one of your opponent's life and send it to a warp, so that's a burn effect right there. So this, obviously, you know, getting rid of a blocker is irrelevant, but it's just the fact that you can get rid of a blocker, swing with this, burn them for 1, and then potentially go for game with this this attack, which is why I mentioned the whole blocker thing. But this is just good effect in general, just always good to remove something out of the way. Then we got Oceanus Shenron, blocker, counter attack. Choose 1 card from your hand, discard it, negate the attack, and then play this card. If you played a card, your opponent can't attack for the turn unless they place the top 4 cards of their deck into the drop area. So it's kind of like a generic topo in a way. Then we got the permanent. During your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3. So it's essentially costs 2 to play on your opponent's turn, and it is a blocker and counter attack. So of course you can potentially stop 2 attacks with this card for 2 energy. And the fact that it's a 5-drop is nice, and, you know, and the reduction, because paying 2 for, you know, for defense is always cost effective, especially if you have to awaken your leader to, you know, awaken untap 2 energy. Then the 2 energy you untap will be useful for Oceanus, for example. The fact that this says you grab a battle card 3 or more is nice, that Gotenks and Oceanus are 3 cost and higher, right? But Oceanus costs 2 when you actually use it, so I love that cost effectiveness. Gotenks Fusion Renewed. Blocker, counter attack. Send 3 cards from your drop area to your warp. Not hard to do since we burst 3 in this deck easily. Negate the attack and play this card. Permanent, if you have a battle card, well, that part doesn't matter because we don't use 6 drops. Auto, when this card attacks, place up to 3 black battle cards from your warp into your drop area, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 3 or less and send it to owner's warp. So this could potentially, you know, get rid of, you know, like I said, a blocker or just any problematic battle card you want to get rid of. As well as it helps you put anything you have in your warp back into your drop, especially if you you know, warped anything through the effect of Gogeta to summon it, or you warp something because of instant transmission 10 times command map. Time Agent Vegeta has unique, permanent. If this card would be removed from your battle area, it is sent to its owner's warp instead. So I forgot about that effect. That it has that effect. If double checking if it would removed from your battle area is sent to its owner's warp instead. So you won't want this on the field, because if I'm right, this would obviously would count as a skill. So you'll want this. Well, to play this one is the one I'm talking about. To play this one, you'll need the Time Agent Vegeta in your hand. The Goku can be on the field, but the Time Agent Vegeta can't be on the field. It has to be in your hand in order for this effect, because this would actually warp the Vegeta. Vegeta will warp itself once you try to use it with Gogeta, the 10-drop Gogeta. So that's what not to work, if I'm right with the ruling. So you gotta keep that in mind. But either way, it wouldn't be that hard to get this to your hand, especially with the Leader's Awaken effect. Be able to add this to your hand from the drop. It's auto. If your leader card is a black Saiyan card, which it is, when this card is placed into your drop area from your deck by a skill, like the Leader's Burst skill, for example, you may play this card from your drop area, without paying the cost. Active battle, once per turn, pay 2 energy, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 3 or less, and send it to one's warp. So this is obviously a good defensive effect to use. This can come in handy against any 3 cost or less battle card your opponent tries to attack you with. You could just trigger this to get rid of that battle card. You can also use this when you attack, especially if you want to get rid of a blocker. We got Time Agent Trunks. Also has unique, it's a blocker. Auto, when this card is played, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. Of course, you can choose not to add anything. And second auto, if your leader card is black Saiyan card, which it is, when this card is placed into your drop area from your deck by a skill like the leader skill, you may play this card from your drop area. So you can get a free blocker, which is always good to have a defense. Then we got Deadly Defender Goku, Barrier, 20k, good to have a battle card with Barrier, because you never know. Permanent, during your opponent's turn, if your leader card is black, which it is, this card is in rest mode, your opponent cards can't attack your leader card, and this card gets minus 5k power for the turn. And he's a Goku Xeno, obviously. Goku making an entrance, counter attack, negate an attack, play this card. It's a 5k body. You could use it to swing at your opponent, give it a chop or Isepen Kai, and try to go for some double strike damage. Obviously, it's a Goku Xeno, so you can use it for your Gogetas. Further instruction, Champa, combo with it for 1 energy, get 10k boost and double strike. And it's a red card, so obviously helps us with the Gogeta strategy. the Gogeta 10 drop. We have Hidden Power Isepen Kai. When you combo with this card, choose up to 1 of your attacking cards that gains double strike. So for 1 energy, you get 10k boost, and you could give something double strike or not. The choice is yours. And it's a red card to go with the 10 drop Gogeta. Power Burst, counter attack. Your leader card is black. Negate the attack, then choose up to 1 black battle card from your drop area or warp with an energy cost of 1 and add it to your hand. The main target for that is Goku making an entrance. And permanent, if Sparking 5, if you have 5 or more cards in your drop, you can play this card's counter skill from your hand by adding 1 card from your life to your hand instead of playing the energy cost of this card. So you can play for free if you have 5 or more cards in your drop by taking a life. And it's not a once per turn, so you can do this multiple times if you can afford it. So essentially a free negate. And then we got instant transmission 10 times command. Right, counter attack, negate the attack. Place up to 2 black battle cards from your warp into the drop area. Active main, pay 1 black energy. Choose 2 cards in your hand and send them to the warp. Obviously, battle cards, black battle cards would be the best choice for that cost. And then add this card from your drop area to your hand. Obviously, with this deck's ability to burst, This will easily get to the drop, obviously, so you can always get it back from the drop, so you can use it. It's a reusable negate, so it's always good to have a cheap reusable negate. Also, the fact that it synergizes with the deck, putting stuff from your warp to your drop, especially for your thwarting the Dark Empire Gogeta, so that we can constantly keep removing the Time Agent Vegeta and a Deadly Defender Goku, for example. Keep removing them for the Gogeta. Let's see what else you can do with this. Obviously, reusable negate is always good. On top of the fact that we have the ability to reuse our, Gotenks and our Oceanus, it's always good to always be able to try to stop 2-3 attacks per turn. Typically, your opponent will have leader swing, unison swing, and at least one battle card swing, so you have to at least be able to stop up to 3 attacks or more. But you always want your opponent to have 3 or less attacks, no more than that, because obviously it increases their chances of attacks getting through, and you don't want that. So then we have our Unison SS Gotenks, Fusion of Friendship. Auto, if your leader card is a black Saiyan card, which it is when this card is placed into your drop area from your deck by a skill like the Burst Effect, and you don't have a Unison card in play already, you can play this card from your drop area with a marker on it. And then has the +2 active main ability, so you can give it 2 markers, and then choose 1 card from your hand and discard it. This card gains 10k power for the turn, so it becomes a 15k body. And then it has the -4 ability, active main. This card gains 20k power and dual attack for the turn. So you could use this obviously as a win con, having it as a 25k dual attacker, so you can have the potential of attacking with it twice. Because obviously if your opponent has a negate, especially a free negate, they can stop the first attack, but at least you have a secondary attack to try to go through. And you could always try to throw in Issa Pinkai or Champa on top of the card to try to get an attack to go through, and go for game. And that's the end of the video.